As we go about our daily lives, most of us are unaware of the everyday challenges that others in our community face. Some disabilities are immediately identifiable, but there are people whose struggles are not visible or obvious to others. How do we treat the disabled? Do we see the disability before we see the person? And if, as a society, our treatment of the disabled is a true measure of our civilization, what can we learn about ourselves? Follow us as we take an in-depth look at the work carried out by some of our local charities. We meet the people who have inspired, those who continue to inspire, and the many who freely give of their time, help, and love in the service of others. You cannot help others without also helping yourself. What is a disability? Is it only a physical or mental limitation? Or is it also the inability to see the abilities in others, to be unable to see beyond the wheelchair?
Matthew, you suffer from cerebral palsy, yes. I understand. Tell us how that condition can affect a person.
It basically can affect you in many ways. It can either affect you in ways of really moderate or really severe. It can range from having an arm which doesn't function very well, or a leg, or basically the fact that you can't do basic things for yourself, like bathing, toileting, any number of aspects.
Andrew, your daughter suffers from cerebral palsy. Yep. So was she diagnosed at a very early age?
Well, Lauren was born premature, and originally, after a couple of days after she was born, I'm just going to confirm, sort of 10 days after she was born, she went in for a scanner, and obviously it was confirmed that Lauren had cerebral palsy. And from then on, I suppose the last 10 years has been a challenge after another. The way I suppose we try and live through it at the moment is on a day-to-day basis, but we plan. Everything is planned. Anything that we're going to do, we start the day before and we plan it.
I understand that you were a student in St. Martin's.
Yes.
And then you went on to mainstream schooling.
Yes.
How was that adjustment for you?
Quite honest, it was a struggle in itself, but not so much for the students. The students were fantastic. In fact, I was supported by my head teacher, Priscilla Sacramento, and my teachers, but the misinformation of certain teachers when it came to how we will deal with persons with disabilities. So I had to go to 5 different middle schools because they didn't want me as a student there.
Right.
Because the wheelchair was, in their opinion, which I understand, to be honest, a hazard for health and safety at the time. Although they weren't as health and safety savvy as we are today, but they were at the time. Given the fact I was the first with disabilities, it was a bit of a crisis moment. Oh my God, a disabled.
Yes.
How will we teach him?
Yes.
Because obviously she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, we didn't know the actual disability, whether it was going to be physical, whether it was going to be mental, was she going to be able to express her feelings. So that, I think, from the very beginning, from the first year, it was always like, let's see what the future holds for us, no? Because we didn't know
the uncertainty. Really.
Exactly, we didn't know.
Because is it a degenerative disease?
No.
No.
As she was born so small,
the part of her brain, the ventricles.
The vessels in her brain burst, filled up one of her ventricles, and it fills up with water. There was the damaged lines. So it's just a little bit of the brain that tells the brain to the muscle, let's do this, let's do that. That's what doesn't
So
work.
it's a coordination. She can move
She
all her
can't-
muscles.
But she can't coordinate.
She can't
so
coordinate
when she does something, she might move both arms at the same
Yes.
time because she can't coordinate.
Yes.
She coordinates like a baby does. She steps on her toes when she walks.
Yes.
But she can't stand on her own, sit on her own, because her brain doesn't allow it. Because that part of the brain is literally dead.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I'm all for dialogue, but I'm not scared of having direct action if I have to. Basically, the best way I can explain it, I am a firm believer in order to make an omelette, you have to break eggs.
Yes.
And at times, the people with disabilities are very afraid of rocking the boat, and I'm not.
What are you campaigning for now? What is top on your list?
Well, quite frankly, what's top of my list really is the transposition into law of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Disabled, because once we have that in place, the things that disabled people have now, right now it's out in the gift of the government. But once that legislation is enforced, it will become law, and therefore we will not be subject to the handouts of whoever government that might be.
So what do you want people to understand? Where do you feel that you're being misunderstood or not properly taken into account? Or
The hardest thing is going out of your front door and meeting society in terms of that there's so many brick walls, like you want to go somewhere and the ramp.
Go to a shop.
Exactly. She wants to go shopping with Lauren, she can't.
I'm gonna have to be the dog.
You have to be the dog.
Yes,
Wait
she's left
outside.
outside.
Oh.
Also, the brownie hut. That sometimes they go camping and I can't stay overnight, but I can stay in the daytime, but I can't stay overnight.
And you want to stay overnight, don't
Yes.
you?
The camping facilities for the brownies. She's going to be in Girl Guides now. It's not possible. So she stays there maybe until
Yeah.
8 until we pick her up because there's no facilities. Just things that
Yeah.
she's been left out literally in so many things.
All that makes me is a person that believes passionately in how we treat the most vulnerable is how we're going to be judged at the end of the day by history and by others. So the reflection of a good society is how we treat the most vulnerable, and that is in essence what I try to do. I try to treat people like I would like to be treated in their position.
Given what you've said, and I totally agree with what you've said, how do you think Gibraltar fares?
And the thing is, although Gibraltar has economic restraints, which I'm very well aware of, but being so small, we could do so much more.
Yeah.
Because there's no need for anyone to fall through the cracks. We're that small, okay, we can make a difference.
And we also improve the ramps.
The
Ramps.
ramps. The ramps are very important, of course. And there's many places that don't have them, no, Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that really has to be addressed, and the right ramps.
The other day we went to Sacarello's because he has a ramp now. We had tea.
Yeah.
I must say that Gibraltar has improved,
improved,
leaps
yes.
and bounds, but we're still lagging behind. There's so many things that people take for granted, like it's social things, but it's what actually life is about. It's what gives you enjoyment, and if you can't do them,
I've learned that life isn't necessarily a bed of roses, but life is what you make it. Not because you're disabled, the world owes you something. The world doesn't owe you anything. But that, in the same token, you always have something to give. No matter your disability, everyone has something. Whether it's a smile, whether it's just a nod or whatever, that person always has something to give. My life, in essence, is difficult, yes, but no more difficult than the next guy. I have different challenges, but I have challenges nonetheless. If I want to be treated as an equal, then I must be seen to be an equal. I can't just cry foul, oh, life is too difficult. No, you have to take the rough with the smooth.
and it's surprising that since the age of 2, she's always tended to look after her sister. She's fed her, she's done so many things, and it's like, wow.
I bet you love your sister.
Yeah.
Loads. And you, what do you think? Is your sister, is she a nice little sister? Is she a nice one? Is she good to you?
Yes.
Of course.
It was a butt.
And I think she's sweet and cute.
Sweet and cute.
She's
yeah.
sweet and cute. I think you're both just as sweet and cute as each other.
And at the end of the day, what is a label? Everyone's different. Everyone develops at a different stage. It's just a question of finding what that person is good at. Because we are very sort of quick to look for things that divide us. But we have many more things that actually unite us as people, you know, and as human beings.